Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and we are back with another episode of the Saga of the 8 Points. This is a series of Warcry battle reports, and this is battle report number 3. It is a 1,000 point battle between Flesh Eater Courts as well as Stormcast Eternals. My friend Scream of the Emo is bringing House von Koss, and I'm bringing the Lords of Azure Sky. So we're throwing it down at 1,000 points. Like I said before, my friends and I have been really excited about playing Warcry. It's been a blast so far. The rules are really simple, and they're also really quick to learn. The gameplay is very intuitive, and it's also a very fierce and action-packed game. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play some background music real quick. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing for our warbands, go ahead and pause, take a look at your own leisure. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad. Why we fought, or why we died. No. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Valor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Alright, so let's go talk about the scenario rules for this one. So once again, we drew 4 cards. We have our terrain card already set up. We'll take a look at that during the battle plan. Our deployment is called Knife to the Back, and on this one, both hammer as well as shield units will deploy on the table, and then what ends up happening is that in round 3, your dagger units pop up in the behind enemy lines and kind of sneak attack on that part. So that part was kind of crazy because I dedicated quite a bit of my fighting force to the dagger, so that part's kind of actually interesting. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to deployment. Now, the victory for this one, the victory condition is called the Raid, and what ends up happening is that the defender, which is Scream of the Emo, places 6 objectives anywhere on the battlefield so long as they're more than 4 inches away from other objectives. And on that one, my goal is to destroy at least 3 of those objectives and burning one of them during my actions. Now, if I do all 3 of those objectives, I automatically win the scenario. However, I have to do it by the end of round 3. If I don't do it by the end of round 3, I do lose this scenario, so I have to keep that in mind. Now, the twist on this one is dusk, which represents that we're fighting right at dusk and that the sunlight's going away and the darkness is overcoming. So what ends up happening is that any attack that actually has a range attack. During the first round, you can't attack a target more than 12 inches away. Second round is 9 inches away. Third round is 6 inches away, and it doesn't really matter after that because we only fight for 3 rounds on this one. So that's the twist on this. So those are the scenario rules on this one. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan real fast. Alright, so here's an arrowhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see the 6 different objective markers represented by the little green tokens that are spread throughout the entirety of the battlefield. My friend Scream of the Emo is deployed on the far side of the table, while I'm deployed on the near side of the table. So as you can see here, my plan is pretty much just to attack objectives and to take them out. The objectives I'm going to try to go for, I'm going to go for the objective on the tower on the left hand side, sending Horus in order to destroy that. I plan on taking out the objective in the middle of the table as well as the one on the tower on the right hand side as well. And the objective right behind me, that's my reserve objective in case I can't get to the other 3. I can use that one to secure it. And that's pretty much what my plan is on this one. I am taking the offense in the sense that I'm moving towards objectives to destroy them, but that's pretty much it for the most part. And of course, my buddy Scream with Emo, I'm assuming he's just going to try to stop me. And you can also see that 2 of my hunters on the right hand side, those are my dagger reserves, and the 2 crypt ghouls over there in the left hand corner, those are Scream with Emo's reserves. And that pretty much makes up the battle plan on this one. So with battle plan over with, we go directly to deployment. So starting off on the left-hand side with my shield deployment, we have Sanus Stormsight. He's my long strike raptor. And right next to him on the right-hand side, that's my Aether Wing Horus. Right next to him on the far right-hand side, those are my hammer deployment. Up in front, that is Balian Swiftsteel. He's my Hunter Prime. And right behind him is Meridian Sunhelm, my Vanguard Hunter. And that pretty much makes up my deployment here in the center of the battlefield. And finally, in reserve, I have Kato Shadow Step as well as Tullius Vertis, which are my 2 Vanguard Hunters. And they're just kind of chilling out because they don't pop onto the table until round 3, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. Alright, so jumping across the table to the Flesh Eater Court, starting off with the, what you call hammer deployment, which is over there on the left-hand side. In the back, that is Nathron the Pious. He is a Crypt Flayer, so because I do have to worry about him, he can fly, he has a Death Streak ability I don't have to worry about. Right in front of him in the center, that is Regulus the Fasting Lord. He is a Crypt Gas, who is also the leader of this warband. And to his left, that is Nico the Honorable, which is a Crypt Ghoul. And then right next to him on the right-hand side, that is Brahm Oathtaker, who is another Crypt Ghoul as well. And in the center deployment there for the shield, we have 2 Crypt Horrors. The one on the left is called Glabios the Merry, and we have Maldoros the Sun Lord. And those are the 2 Flesh Eater Court Crypt Horrors that are located right there on the center of the battlefield. And then finally in reserve, we have 2 more Crypt Ghouls. The Crypt Ghoul on the left, that his name is Ulbricht the White, and on the right hand side, that is Vushor. And those basically make up the 2 Crypt Ghouls on the deployment on this one. So with the deployment phase over with, you go directly to the top of turn number 1, and both Scream of the Emo and I roll off for priority, so he goes first. So we go directly to the top of turn number 1 with the Stormcast Eternals, which is my army getting the priority on this one. I managed to get 4 singles as well as a triple. My friend Scream of the Emo got a triple, a double, and 2 singles. Now originally we would have been tied, but I decided to throw an additional wild die in there just to make extra sure that I get the win on this one. So because of that, I get to go first. So with that being said, we skip the reserve phase and go directly to the combat phase. So in the combat phase, the first thing I do is I activate Samus Stormsight, who's my long strike crossbow, my long strike raptor. I then activate the rapid fire ability once again, using 2s on that one, giving him an additional attack, and I target his leader, Regulus the Fasting Lord. Imagine put 13 wounds on that guy, so that guy is 2 wounds away from being killed. And the reason why I targeted his Cryptogas first is because that character is actually gives a lot of buffs to his abilities for the rest of his warband, so I wanted to take that guy out if I could. I tried to one-shot him, just kill him off the table. Unfortunately, I just didn't get the dice on that one. So afterwards, my friend then activates Regulus the Fasting Lord, who then uses the Respite ability real quick, manages to heal 6 wounds off himself. So because of that, he is now down to 9 wounds instead of the original 13 that I originally had on him as well. So that part is pretty crazy as well. I then activate Horus, and I do a double movement with Horus flying to the top of the tower on the left-hand side to secure objective, so that way he can destroy that one and also net me a bonus. But unfortunately, I used up both his actions in order to get to the top of that tower. At the same time, my buddy Scream of the Emo then activates Maldoros, the Sun Lord, has him move up a double movement, not a double movement, sorry, just does a normal movement directly to the objective in the center of the table, and he puts a weight token on him so that way he can intercept and attack anybody that comes near that objective, which is actually pretty smart because that's actually the first time we've actually seen a weight token put on somebody in this Battle Report series so far. In response, I activate Meridian Sunhelm, and I actually do a double moon to get him to the top of the tower on objective on the right hand side of the battlefield. Now I use both of his actions in order to get to the top of the tower, so I will need to wait until the second battle round for him to be able to destroy that objective. So, not wanting me to secure an objective real quick, Scream of the Emo then activates Nathron the Pious, his Crypt Flare, and that guy flies 10 inches just like Horus does. So because of that, he just zooms directly to the top of the tower and uses his second attack to attack with his claws directly into Horus, and he just destroyed my 8th wing like it's nobody's business. He's got strength 4 attacks versus my toughness of 2. I only got 6 wounds. He causes 2 wounds apiece. I think he put a critical hit and then 2 normal hits on me, so because of that, he just destroys Horus and just consumes that poor thing alive. Alright, so up next, I decide to activate a leader. I activate Valiant Swift Steel. I actually send him in one movement, spending one of his actions to move, and then I have him attack Maldoros the Sun Lord. Managed to put 4 wounds on that guy in the combat. Now, in exchange, my friend then activates because he had a weight token on him. Maldoros does attack back. I think he managed to put 3 wounds onto my character, Valiant the Swift Steel, so that part was kind of rough. Then it goes back to his activation. He then activates his second Crypt Horror, Glabios the Merry. He actually spends 2 dice in order to get the +1 to his movement to close a distance within 7 inches, so that way he's 1 inch of attacking my character, and of course he also sends his second action to attack me as well, putting on the last 3 wounds on me as well. So because of my character's carrying 6 wounds, so I'm being ganged up on by 2 Crypt Horrors, but at the same time, my character's toughness is 5, he's got 30 wounds, and I'm fighting against 2 Crypt Horrors who basically have strength 4 attacks, so I'm pretty liking my odds. So I'm just going to try to stand there, hopefully I can weather the storm and eventually destroy that objective. And since also all my fighters are activated, my friend Scream of the Emo then activates Brahm Oathtaker as well as Nico the Honorable as 2 Crypt Ghouls, and he spends double actions having them move forward twice in order to catch up with the rest of his Crypt Horrors in the center of the battlefield. And that pretty much makes up round number 1 for this scenario so far. So here's an overhead shot of the entirety of turn number 1. As you can see, I do try to take this the tower on the left-hand side, but unfortunately my 8th wing got destroyed by that Crypt Flare, and at the same time the Crypt Ghouls and Crypt Horrors are starting to charge directly into the center of the battlefield, trying to gang up on my characters and destroy them. I do have the objective marker on the far right-hand side of the tower, so hopefully I'll be able to destroy that, and hopefully net myself a victory point on that one. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that takes directly to the top of turn number 2, and my friend Scream of the Emo and I roll off in the priority phase. Alright, so that takes directly to the priority phase for turn number 2, and my friend Scream of the Emo managed to get the initiative on this one. When it was all said and done, he has 2 doubles, I have a triple as well as a double, and he's also got 3 singles and I only have 2. So because of that, he takes the priority on this one. We skip reserve phase, we go directly to the combat phase. So in the combat phase, my opponent does try to activate with Glabios the Merry, has him a direct double of his attacks, so 4 attacks total directly into my character, but unfortunately for him, he needs 5s up in order to wound my character, Valiant Swift Steel, so because of that, he fails all of his attacks. Not a single one of them managed to get through my toughness in order to wound me, so his attacks kind of failed. I, on the other hand, decided to open fire with my crossbow again, once again opening fire with Samus Stormsight, and I decided to use the triple ability for the rapid fire ability, so that way he ends up getting 5 shots on this guy as well. So the first few shots I actually managed to kill him with 20 points on that one, so that part was kind of cool, and then of course the rest of the shots kind of finished him off. So with Stamus Stormsight, managed to put 20 wounds directly onto Glabios the Mary. I then activate my leader, Balian Swiftsteel, and I direct both of my attacks directly into Glabios the Mary on the left hand side. Managed to finish off the last 10 wounds needed to kill that Crypt Horror. So that part was kind of cool as well. In exchange, as you see here in the top of the screen, my friend then activates Rigilus the Fasting Lord, spends a double movement to have him go directly into the center of the battlefield next to the objective marker right there. And the reason why he does that is because he plans on using one of his abilities that only his leader can, that only his leader has to be within range in order to use it. I believe it's called, let me take a look here, it's called the Chosen of the King is what that ability is called. And he has to be within 6 inches of his fighter in order to use it. So for his next turn, he then activates Maldros Sunlord and also pops the, the Chosen of the King ability. What that does, it actually gives all fighters in 6 inches plus 2 their attacks for any attack that has a range of 3 inches or less. And he puts that directly onto Maldoros the Sunlord, who then it also directs his attacks directly into my character Balian Swiftsteel. Managed to put 10 wounds on him when it's all said and done. So because of that now, I'm about halfway dead, which is actually pretty crazy. This is actually the most damage I think that my character has taken so far in this campaign. So that part's pretty rough as well. So in exchange, I then activate Meridian Sunhelm. I spend an action for him to destroy the first of the objectives, so because I net one for myself, only got 2 more to go, and then I'm going to attack with his crossbow directly into Maladoros the Sunlord. But unfortunately for me though, my attacks were just not strong enough to go through his toughness, so he doesn't take any damage from that. So continuing on this offense, Scream of the Emo then activates Nathron the Pious, which is his Crypt Flare. He has him fly down 10 inches and lands directly right in front of Samus Stormsight. That's his first action. Then he activates the ability Skewering Strike. It gives him +1 to his strength until the next fighter round at the end of the round, because he also causes anything within 3 inches to get +1 to his strengths. Also, the crazy part about it is that my target, I can't disengage or move if I get attacked, which kind of throws a monkey wrench in my plans. I'll talk about that here in a second. So he does manage to get those attacks right off of me, managed to put 4 wounds onto my character, so now he is stuck and he's internally engaged with this guy. I can't break away from him because the idea was that I actually wanted him to have my long strike raptor actually move back and hopefully destroy that second objective, which is right in the middle of that little cart there, the little reserve objective. But that's not going to be able to fly now because my opponent's Crypt Flare is currently engaged with my long strike raptor. So that part's pretty crazy. The rest of the combat phase directly to my buddy Scream of the Emo, who then activates his 2 Crypt Ghouls, Brahm Oathtaker, as well as Nico the Honorable, and those guys charge directly into Balian Swiftsteel. So because of that, they spend a movement action each doing that, and they also spend another action attacking and putting up into 18 wounds directly onto my character. So my character is almost 2/3 dead with the amount of wounds that he's taking at this point. And with that, that pretty much brings a dramatic close to turn number 2 for this battle round. So here's the end of turn number 2 on this one. As you can see, there is a huge melee breaking out right in the middle of the battlefield. I do have one hunter over there on the far right hand side that he can probably do some stuff. And my plan was to, this is where I realized I kind of made a mistake in my plan. I should have set my long strike raptor heading back to destroy objective marker number, the one right there, right in the middle of the table in the bottom of the portion of the screen, because I could have easily secured that one and it got that for me. However, there is a silver lining. Round 3 is going to pop up here in a sec, which means that our dagger elements will be able to pop up. Now, my opponent will be able to put 2 Crypt Ghouls into my deployment area, which kind of sucks, but at the same time though, I get to put 2 Vanguard Hunters into his deployment area, which will really help out because there are 2 objective markers right there that I could probably take advantage of. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that takes us directly to the end of turn number 2, and we go directly to the top of turn number 3, and we roll off for a priority. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 3, and the Stormcast Eternals managed to take it on this one. As you can see in the roll dice, my ability earned a triple as well as a double. I earned a triple, and I spent one of my wild dice in order to secure that I got another single, so that way I take the initiative on this one, because if I don't destroy 2 objectives by the end of this turn, I'm going to lose this scenario. So with that being said, we go on directly to the reserve phase. And the reserve phase in my enemy's back deployment area, I deploy 2 Vanguard Hunters, that is Kato's Shadow Step as well as Tullius Virtus. So they show up there right in the back next to those ruins, as well as next to that palisade there on the right hand side. And at the same time, my opponent deploys 2 Crypt Ghouls, Ubrek the White, as well as Vushor right next to the ruins on the left hand side of my deployment area. So with the reserve phase over with, go directly to the combat phase. Alright, so up next I activate Kato's Shadow Step, my Vanguard Hunter. I also spend another series of dice on him in order to move up forward. It's called, Tireless Hunter. What that does, it adds half of the movement allowance of this ability to add to his movement, which gives him a total of movement of 6. So because he does close this distance to that to the objective marker that was in the middle of the ruin at the top of the table, I then send his second action to destroy that objective. Enemy 2 objectives completed. All I gotta do now is destroy a third. So, sensing the danger that I would propose to actually try to go over that second objective, my opponent then actually activates Rigilus the Fasting Lord. He moves back 5 inches directly into the cart where the another objective is located at, and he puts a weight marker on him there in order to intercept any of my characters that try to go over there to destroy that objective as well. Meanwhile, I then activate Meridian. I actually have him drop down to the bottom level of the tower, doing a double move in order to do that, so that way he can start engaging targets if he is able to. And then my opponent activates his Crypt Flayer, Nathron the Pious. He actually activates one of them called a Death Shriek ability, which means that everything within 6 inches, you roll a d6 for it, and if you roll high enough, if you roll a 6, they actually take that many damage ability points, or they only take 1 damage at this point. So because that, he will be able to hit both my Long Strike Raptor, Sanus Stormsight, as well as my character Balian Swiftsteel, my Prime. So that part's kind of rough as well. So he activates that ability, and he manages to put 10 wounds directly onto my Long Strike Raptor. He also managed to bring up the total amount of pool of wounds to 24 onto my Hunter Primus. So because of that, Balian Swiftsteel is only 6 wounds away from being killed, and my Long Strike Raptor is also halfway from being killed as well. So next, I activate Balian Swiftsteel, have him direct all of his attacks. He does all 8 of his attacks, doing 4 and 4 for both double attacks directly into Maldros the Sunlord. Unfortunately for me, though, I wasn't able to kill him. All I managed to put up to his wounds up to 14. So that part's kind of rough as well. Kind of like the last desperate act of a dying man at this point, because he's being swarmed by Crypt Ghouls as well as a Crypt Horror. And once again, my friend activates Chosen the King again, once again onto Maladoros the Sunlord, earning +2 to his attacks. So in that case, he ends up attacking with 6 attacks for each attack phase, putting 12 attacks directly onto Balian Swiftsteel, and that was enough to pop him and manage to kill him as well. So because that Balian Swiftsteel is now killed and my Prime Hunter is now dead, freeing up that objective from me after actually ever being attacked. Meanwhile, activates Samus Stormsight, who's still being engaged with the, with Nathron the Pious because of that skewer ability. I can't really leave, so all I can really do is fight back. So what I decided to do is to direct my fist attacks directly into this guy. I managed to put a wound on him, so I managed to punch him in the face and give him a bloody nose for a second. So that part was kind of great. Screamo then activates Vushor, one of his Crypt Ghouls that's in my deployment area, has him spend a double movement directly to secure the objective right behind me. So now that objective's out of my grasp. And I desperately try to get this ghoul off the other objective for the Crypt Gas, so I actually move up my character Tullius Vertus up his normal moon allowance, have him open fire with his crossbow, but I actually don't do any damage to this guy whatsoever, so nothing much really happens here at the top of the screen. Finally, Screamo the Emo then activates Ulbrich the White, his last Crypt Ghoul, who does a double movement to secure that objective on the bottom of the screen. And then he activates Brahm the Oath Taker, as well as Nico the Honorable, and both of them swim right directly into Samus Stormsight and manage to kill that guy with their attacks between them. So because of that, they managed to kill my Long Strike Raptor as well. So here's the top of turn number 3, the end of turn number 3, as you can see on the battlefield. I only basically got 2 hunters left. However, I have no chances whatsoever securing any objectives at this point, just because I'm just ran out of time because it's the end of round turn number 3, and I wasn't able to destroy the 3 objectives like I was supposed to. So that takes us directly to the end of the game, with the Flesh Eater Corpse managing to win to secure this one because I failed to take up my 3 objectives. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly to the After Action Report because this battle report is now officially over.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for the After Action Report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn from the next time that we do battle. This is the After Action Report for Saga 8-Points battle report number 3, and it ended being a defeat for yours truly. In the end, I lost Balian Swiftsteel, Samus Stormsight, as well as Horus. While my opponent Screamo the Emo, he only lost Glabius the Merry, his one Crypt Horror. In the end, the reason why I lost this battle is for one simple reason, and that's because of Bloodlust. I actually blame myself on that one. What I should have done at the very beginning of the game is activated Samus Stormsight, my Long Strike Raptor, have him fall back to the objectives that was behind him, and then have him destroy that objective. If I would have done that, I would have won this game right off the bat because I would have gotten the objective on the top of the tower on the far right hand side, and then my dagger units from Kato's Shadow Step, he would have destroyed the other objective and enemy the win on this one. But I didn't do that. Instead, what I decided to do was have him snipe across the table towards my enemy's warband leader, because I was trying to go for the win on that one, because I just wanted to see how cool it would be to kill his character right off the bat. And that's the reason why I lost. Scream with Emo on the other hand, he brought his A game on this battle report. He swarmed my Stormcast Eternals with multiple opponents, attacking each of my Stormcasts with multiple fighters against one guy, and by doing this it kind of overwhelmed my characters, allowing them to be killed that way. He didn't get distracted, he concentrated on protecting his objectives, and because that, it actually got them the win on this one, because he managed to stay on his A game and keep me from getting those objectives like I was trying to do. This game, however, is still an amazing game from Games Workshop. I'm actually really surprised how fast-paced and how great this game really goes. The rules are really simple. You can learn in about 5 minutes. You can play a game real quick. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes to play that game. Just to give you an idea about how this works out, I actually spend more time making the battle reports for this game than I actually do playing it. So that part's kind of nice as well. And my gaming group and I are in love with this game. It is a fantastic game set and great rules set, and I'm looking forward to doing more of these. And as always, this was a great game against an awesome opponent, and as always, I'm looking forward to playing against Scream the Emo anytime, any place, because he's a good guy to play against. So, that's going to do for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is appreciated as always. Also, check us out on Facebook, blogger.com, as well as Instagram for all this greatest hobby news on this channel. That's going to do it for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.